My name is Peggy Adams, President of the League of Women Voters, Flint Area. With partners Communities First Incorporated, represented by Lori Ross, and Flint Beat, represented by Scott Atkinson, we share a purpose to engage, empower, and educate Flint voters. We're happy to bring you a virtual community forum today to help you decide which candidate for Flint City Council in your ward will get your vote. Questions will be asked by representatives from Flint Beat and the League of Women Voters, while Communities First Incorporated staff will ensure the forum remains on time and on schedule. All candidates who have qualified to be on the ballot, as well as write-in candidates registered with the clerk's office by September 24th, were invited. Only write-ins who are registered with the clerk's office can be counted in an election. Because of our time constraints, we could not accommodate write-in candidates who registered after September 24th. Some candidates chose not to participate. All were informed they would need to comply with certain rules, such as refraining from comments on other persons and only taking the opportunity to tell voters about their own qualifications, priorities, and outlook. All candidates are asked the same questions, and all have the same 2 minutes to answer them. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this today and for being an engaged citizen.
All right, welcome everyone. I'm Scott Atkinson, Managing Editor of Flint Beat. I am joined by Lori Ross from Communities First Inc. and Joan Snyder from the League of Women Voters, and Tanya Risen, who is a write-in candidate for the First Ward. She is running against incumbent Eric Mays, who declined to be with us for the candidate forum today. So Tanya, could you just give us an introduction of yourself, as well as a summary of the qualifications or skills you possess that would make you an asset as a council member?
Well, hi, I'm Tanya Risen. For those who don't know me, good morning, and thank you for letting me be here on the candidate forum. I really appreciate the acknowledgement that I am a write-in candidate for the First Ward, running against the incumbent Eric Mays. And I'm just going to quickly go through my attributes that I feel will be the community will be able to utilize my skills as well as my cooperation with them in order to get the jobs that need to be done for the city. My attributes is I'm empathetic, I'm honest, I'm courteous, I'm tenacious, I'm very knowledgeable of my ward and my city. I am able to multitask and be considerate of others. I have great leadership skills. I'm a self-starter, I'm organized. I'm a recipient of a Good Samaritan Award in the year of 2004 for trying to, I was a first responder to a woman that I tried to save her life, Mrs. Maria Miller. Unfortunately, she did pass from a massive cardiac arrest, but I did receive a Good Samaritan's Award from the Ashford Club where I had been currently employed. I am also a global ambassador for the University of Michigan. I have over several thousand hours of volunteer service to the city of Flint without any acknowledgement whatsoever. I'm an intercultural leadership of the University of Michigan. I'm also part of the outreach program for the University of Michigan. I have my own standalone nonprofit organization, Helping Hands and Not a Handout, in which I would like to help young women to learn the household skills and help them to be able to adapt to being a single parent or a married woman trying to, have an outlet for them to be able to come to and speak on what the issues are with them so that we can better help our community resolve. I'm also AmeriCorps Vista, which is a volunteer in service to Americas. I have been doing that now for the last 9 years. Unfortunately, due to the pandemic,
Okay, thank you, Tanya. I'm sorry, that's the time
okay.
limit. Thank you so much. I'll hand it over to Joan.
That's fine.
Hi there. How are you today? And I'm so glad that you're taking the time to be with us.
Hi, Miss Joan. How are you today? I'm great. Thank you.
Fine, thank you. Just wish the weather was a little bit nicer out there, but it's not.
Yeah, I know.
First question.
Okay.
What are the 3 most pressing issues facing your community or your ward? And if elected, how would you address them?
Well, my priorities they're the gun violence that the gun safety for our children, the safety is my main concern in my area right now. I have an 8-year-old granddaughter. Actually, she just turned 9. And it's very hard for me to explain to her why she can't sit on the porch after dark, or why is someone shooting and she's on the floor, and it's just become too much. So I need for us to all come together to make our cities, streets a lot safer, especially in the first ward here. We have a lot of young people that are not structured, and we don't have things for them to do. And it just leaves a wide area of bad elements to come in and change our mindsets. So I would like to see more neighborhood associations, more neighborhood watch, more involvement from the community, from the ward, as for resolutions to what we can do to curb the behavior of what has been going on in the ward. My second priority would be the abandoned houses, the blight in my ward, our gutters not being cleaned, our streets having holes, our sidewalks not being taken care of, those things. And then thirdly will be bringing revenue to the area. We have some sleeping giants that can be opened up. And so I would like to see that happen, where we can get some rec centers in for the children, or some help centers and different things like that, from like maybe the closed up Wilkins School on the corner of Martin Luther King and Carpenter Road. So there are some things that I have planned in place that I would like to see happen for the ward to bring it back better.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, thank you, Tanya. So next question, what best practices will you employ when making decisions on behalf of the city?
My best practices will be to make sure that I listen very carefully, and that I perform in the way that my ward would want me to, the citizens. This is not about me. This is about the citizens in the ward and the city of Flint. So this is a community effort. I cannot do this job by myself. I have to have the input of the citizens, and I need them to stay positive with me in order to bring it back. So that would be my most important, that's one of my issues. I'm sorry, what was the other question that you asked me? Because somebody's ringing my doorbell. I'm so sorry. Could you say it again?
That's okay. Yeah, what best practices would you employ when making decisions for the
especially
city?
the Roberts Rules of Rights. I want to make sure that those are used, and also following the charter, and even maybe implementing some changes to the charter where we see necessary, but definitely following the rules. And in order for things to get done, we have to be empathetic and work across the aisle with one another in order to get the job done. And we need to do that with the mayor's staff, the city, the county. That has to be, again, a community and an effort. And it also has to start with us as leaders to show that we can be cooperative and do the work of the city. So that would be my thing, is that I'm a good listener, and I will work for the people, and I will listen to both sides and use the best judgment to my best ability. I don't want to make promises that I can't keep. I only can help those who want to be helped. And I only can do that through them engaging with me and letting me know what their issues are and what they like and don't like, and we can go forward.
Thanks, Tanya.
Thank you.
Okay. Next question. What efforts, if any, would you take as an elected leader to ensure transparency and access in governance?
The transparency is like one of my biggest pet peeves. I think that we as citizens of Flint should be engaged with the truth at all times. No distractions from getting to the truth. And everyone needs to always be able to give correct information, and it all should stay consistent and never be changes because the truth doesn't change. And so the transparency should be that everything that we do should be just flat out there, wide open, where everyone can see, so that there's no miscommunication in what's going on. Nobody's confused like it is right now. Nobody knows what's going on, and that is not fair. We are all taxpaying citizens, and we should not be treated in such a way that we don't know what the truth is from a lie. And at this point, we don't know. It's always deflection. And myself, that's not how I operate in my personal life. And I don't think in your professional life, especially when you have such an important job, that you would drop that ball and not be transparent to the people who voted you into that position and trust you that you will take care of things and that you won't lie to them. And that everything will always be in the open. And I think that there should always be a 24-hour, within 24 hours, when a citizen contacts you, you should be able to turn around that call and address whatever the issue was on the call, or even if it was a thank you. It should just be a 24-hour turnaround. So whatever issues that need to be addressed can be addressed, and you are engaged with your ward and the community and the city of Flint. So I'm definitely 100 on transparency, no behind the closed door stuff.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, Tanya, you touched on our next question in your priorities, talking about some of the blight and other issues in the city. So the next question is, how are you going to keep our communities safe and clean?
Well, again, I would like to start with neighborhood associations. With neighborhood associations, there's a criteria that you keep, that your neighborhood should look like, and what you can and can't have out on like curbs and city property, which is from the sidewalk down. So my suggestions would be to try to help small business owners get into small businesses so they're not doing their businesses in their homes, as in, i.e., the mobile barbershops, i.e., the automotive repair guys that do it out of their home. Let's get them into a building, in a space where they're not utilizing their homes anymore. Now they can clean that up. So I think neighborhood associations should be put in place in order to keep a certain standard of living in our area, because if it's beautiful around you and it looks good, it's hard to tear it up. And at this point, when you get up and you don't see things looking good, that doesn't make your day any better. It just kind of brings you more down, and you don't care. So I think that we all need to work on doing our part in our neighborhoods to bring us up to a certain standard of living and keeping it on that level. And then at some points, if that can't be done, maybe some fines for some initiative in which we can put that back into the community for revenue that would be able to buy, flowers and things. And as far as our safety, the neighborhood watches, it starts in our ward first, in our communities first. We have to be responsible for each other. We just have to. And that's where it's going to start. I can't clean up every neighborhood. I can't set a standard for every neighborhood. Everybody's economy level is not the same. So we need to come together to be able to make it happen where all of us can be conjoined together in it. It's hard talking in 2 minutes.
Thanks, Tanya.
And I'm long-winded and I got a lot going on up here. It is just so hard to do it in 2 minutes. Jeez.
Okay. One more question.
Okay.
This is a big one.
Oh boy.
How would you approach balancing the city's budget?
Oh wow. Well, how would I approach a balancing the budget? Well, I think that we should first start with what our priorities are, which would be sanitation and our policing. And I think those two would be the top of the list. And then from there, what we have in remainder should be implemented I know we can't pay everybody's water bills to zero, but we should be able to help people with the water in some way, to relieve them from the monies that they have paid for water that we are not able to use. And then from there, restoration of our different wards and restoring properties, cleaning up abandoned buildings. Wow, there's a lot that could be done with that budget, especially opening up the sleeping giants, get some revenue in here that from our own small businesses first, and take care of ourselves first before we start bringing in other people, sharing money that really belongs to the citizens of Flint. And instead of us spreading it out, we have a lot of that going on right now where we give to businesses, but those businesses are not bringing that money back into our community. And we need to curb that and change that. And that's like one of the immediate things for revenue in the different wards is the no business. You know, we need to bring in that revenue. If we don't, it's gonna go bad. So I think that the city should support in the budget some form of way of grants or something to help small independent business owners.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, well, thank you.
That, but I only got 2 minutes, guys. I only got 2 minutes.
Those are all our questions for today, Tanya. So thank you so much for your time today.
You guys are so awesome. Thank you so much. And vote right in Tanya Rising on November 2nd for First Ward City Council. Try me. I will not let you down.
My name is Peggy Adams, president of the League of Women Voters, Flint Area. With partners Communities First Incorporated, represented by Lori Ross, and Flint Beat, represented by Scott Atkinson, we share a purpose to engage, empower, and educate Flint voters. We're happy to bring you a virtual community forum today to help you decide which candidate for Flint City Council in your ward will get your vote. Questions will be asked by representatives from Flint Beat and the League of Women Voters, while Communities First Incorporated staff will ensure the forum remains on time and on schedule. All candidates who have qualified to be on the ballot, as well as write-in candidates registered with the clerk's office by September 24th, were invited. Only write-ins who are registered with the clerk's office can be counted in an election. Because of our time constraints, we could not accommodate write-in candidates who registered after September 24th. Some candidates chose not to participate. All were informed they would need to comply with certain rules, such as refraining from comments on other persons and only taking the opportunity to tell voters about their own qualifications, priorities, and outlook. All candidates are asked the same questions, and all have the same 2 minutes to answer them. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this today and for being an engaged citizen.
Scott, you're muted.
Okay. Welcome, everyone. I am Scott Atkinson, managing editor of Flint Beat. I am joined today by Lori Ross of Communities First, Inc., and Joan Snyder of the League of Women Voters, and Second Ward candidates Audrey Young and Liddell Lewis. Audrey, we're going to begin with you today. If you could give us a brief introduction of yourself, as well as the skills and qualities you possess that you believe would make you the right person for City Council.
Yes, my name is Audrey Young. I'm affectionately known in the community as Sister Muhammad. I have quite a few skills. I have been involved with the city for several years. I mean, at least since I've been back in the city back in 2012. I've been involved with quite a few different activities in the community, including and not limited to fighting for justice with the water. Some things that we've done with helping others with food distribution, planning community activities such as Juneteenth and Kwanzaa, some trips, educational programs, and just been around quite a bit. But like I said, that's not even just my limitations. By skills, by trade, I'm an occupational therapist, so I have worked in several of the schools and have seen firsthand some of the fallout from the water poisoning that we've suffered, including having a grandchild who has been dealing with some of the effects. And we've been working deeply with them. I sat on the board on the Parent Policy Council out at GISD, which gave me the chance to be able to work directly with some of the policies that was made. Was one of the first grandparents to sit on that board coming from Educare when Educare first opened, because I had a grandchild there when it first opened. I've also worked through some of the other ISDs in the area, including Shiawassee and Saginaw. Thank you.
Thank you, Audrey. All right, so Liddell, can you tell us the same thing? Can you give us a brief introduction of yourself, as well as tell us what qualification skills you possess that would make you the right person for City Council?
Sure. My name is Dr. Liddell Lewis, and I've been a community champion for years. I was one of the first, I was awarded an award by the former Mayor Dane Wiley through the Flint Club for my work that I did with the Flint Community Schools in addition to the community. And then I also was one of the first people in the very first cohort from the University of Michigan Flint to graduate with service learning cords. So it was 3 of us. And then I've just been, and also in high school, I started off as a mentor for Big Brothers Big Sisters. So from there, I've been doing just a lot of on the ground work in Flint. And I've been back and forth between here and DC for since like 2012. Because of my love for Flint. A lot of people didn't even know that I moved away temporarily because I was always doing things here, always boots on the ground. In addition to with the water efforts, I came back here and my evaluation consulting firm, Meaningful Evidence, we did the first needs assessment on the ground to test people's water IQ. So we put out various literature to the community, going door to door to the vulnerable populations and also the sick and shut in to gauge their knowledge about the water crisis. Moreover, we created literature to keep people informed based off that information. And we distributed to the Flint Community Schools. So if you see the safe foods for lead with the bottle for the babies, I was a big part of that campaign, one of the spearheaders. But just moving forward, when I moved back here full time, taking care of my father, I just began to get even more involved because I noticed that the citizens, they're older. The ones that are usually involved, they got a lot older. And it was just time for my generation and below to step up. So I just filled in the gap. And when I filled in the gap, I just found myself getting more busy because if my father was still alive, I would want someone to step in and take care of him the way I'm taking care of the neighborhood. So I just wanted to extend my efforts to the second ward. I have a PhD from Western Michigan University in evaluation. So that's one of the things that I bring. I'm a meta evaluator. Okay, did it stop? All the way stop? Okay.
Thank you, Liddell. Joan?
Hi there. I would like to pose a question first to Audrey, please. What are the most pressing issues facing your community or ward? And then in addition to that, if elected, how will you address them?
Okay. I understand. I definitely understand. You said, what is one of the most pressing issues in our community?
Facing your community or ward. And if you're elected, what steps would you take to address them?
Crime Crime encompasses several different things. One of the main things that we talk about with crime, we have some stores and things that's in our community that does need to be addressed. We need them addressed. We need to work in a partnership with the police department to address those. The loitering is causing problems. We have complaints from the neighborhood on what should happen with that particular establishment as far as helping to reduce the crime that's in that area. It's nothing to wake up in the middle of the night, hear gunfire, those kind of things. We do call the police, but we do need more community partnerships with them in order to take care of that early on to avoid the crime. I mean, we've actually had murders that led from that. We've had several shootings. The neighbors in that community are definitely addressing that issue with us as we go out into the community and canvas. Another thing that we can do is increase our neighborhood engagement communities, our neighborhood associations, which we have established. And we also have been walking around getting more of them to know that their voice is heard greater in numbers versus being heard individually. We just got through completing, a crime intervention program to where we can be able to do some things in our community to address that. Neighborhood watch is one of the biggest things in reporting, but they don't want to report if they don't think that the police department will properly respond. And that's where we got to work with them directly. Just actually being involved in talking to the community and keeping the community engaged is keeping light to that and making it possible that their voices are being heard. That's the main thing. They want to make sure that their voices is being heard and that there's action that's going to be taken care of from them. And they're not put at risk of having retaliated against those if they do decide to report. We need to make sure that that is definitely taken care of. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, and Liddell, same question. What are your 3 top priorities in Flint? How would you address them? You're muted, Liddell.
I pressed it and didn't go off mute. So my top 3 are blight, police, community relations, and also constituent education. So those are my top 3. And you want to know why they're my top 3?
How would you address them as a council member?
Okay, so with blight, working more in hand with block clubs, because although I clean up a lot, in my small groups and as an individual, need to empower the residents to know that this is our community and that you too can make a difference. So so getting with block clubs to help assist with blight cleanup is very paramount until the blight department can catch up. So getting those together is key. And then my next one is constituent education. Right now, I put out quarterly newsletters. And through the quarterly newsletters, we distribute them via text, via online, and also hand delivered to all 330 residents within the Cyrus Park community. So depending on how you like to ingest your information, I want to do an on-the-ground needs assessment to see how people would get the information so we can plug them with the correct way. So we'll mail you what you need to have mailed, and we send you appropriate text lines and also via email, because we'll say the best constituent is an informed constituent. And then the third one is crime. So work hand in hand with the police. I have a working relationship with the state police and also a relationship with the sheriff's department and the Flint police to build police relations so people will want to call. Because in this community, a lot of people, they don't even know the difference between crime reporting and snitching. So a lot of people think just speaking with the police in any fashion is snitching. So everything that Sister Muhammad said is absolutely spot on pertaining to police and how people feel about them. So breaking down those barriers, informing the community what snitching is and isn't, and showing them that, showing them how the different methods to tell, because Lori, show them this method to tell. That's about it. Thank you.
Thanks, Liddell. All right, so Liddell, we're going to start with you on this question. The next question here. What best practices would you employ when making decisions on behalf of the city?
Well, one thing is that, social media, especially Facebook, they have surveying mechanisms. So, so when it's time for council to vote on an issue or issue is present, yeah, we need to take those things to the community, see what they say, and allow them to call in. Like I said, this is part of the constituent being informed of what's going on. And so if you are informed, then you can have an input. So yeah, so use different surveying mechanisms so they know what's going on, they can voice their opinion. So I just won't be making decisions based off of me and my personal feelings, because my situation may be totally different than the rest of the second ward. So I don't want to represent just Liddell Lewis. I want to make sure that I represent the entire constituency.
All right, thanks. And Audrey, same questions. What are some of the best practices you would employ as a city council member?
Definitely getting the information out to the people. A lot of people, we have different mediums that we use, the news, Facebook. Even when we had the primary, a lot of people didn't even know we had an election coming up. When we had the election back in May, a lot of people didn't know that there was an election. A lot of people don't know how to call into city council right now. As I'm out canvassing, I'm giving out phone numbers to the city council in different places and ways that they can call in and find out. But also after the city council meeting is over with and there's a vote taking place, it has to be some kind of way that the people can be informed on what took place, what got voted, and even who voted on those particular items. Because right now, if I don't go downtown and get a copy of the agenda, or I don't go downtown and request a list to see what happened and who voted which way, I don't know. So I missed some of the meetings. Like I missed some last night because of something else that was going on that we had already gotten involved in, or if they have a special meeting that comes up. People don't know all the time. There's meetings that's set up. Our community definitely have to be informed, and all of the measures of mediums have to be used. Facebook, news, door-to-door, community, our neighborhood engagement associations, they definitely need to be voted up, precinct delegates. All of those things that we have and ways that we can get the information out to the community have to be done. And also, as Sister Liddell said, Dr. Liddell said, we have to be able to go to the city, find out what it is, and find out what the community want. It's their voices that matters. It's not hers, not mine. It's not ours individually. We have to find out what the people want, because the people may think something different than us or see a different perspective on it. Yeah, thanks.
Liddell, I'd like to address this question to you. What efforts, if any, would you take as an elected leader to ensure transparency and access in governance?
Read it one more time, please.
Pardon me?
I said, can you repeat the question one more time, please?
Certainly. What efforts
You muted on accident, Joan.
I thought I had. I'm sorry about that. What efforts, if any, would you take as an elected leader to ensure transparency and access in governance?
Okay, well, one of the ways, just like Sister Muhammad mentioned, making sure people have access and know where to locate meeting minutes, minute notes, the document that the council have that's privy to the public. We need to make sure that the people know how to access those things. And then furthermore, we need to ensure that we have an accountable administration. Because one thing I'm all about transparency, hence my background in evaluation. So just hold those who are in charge feet to the fire. So like a great example is like, say for example, well, no, I'm not going to use that example, but just hold those who's accountable feet to the fire and make sure people are aware of processes in addition to those that are in charge of facilitating certain process, so we can get down to the bottom line.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, so Audrey, same question. What efforts, if any, would you take to ensure transparency or access in governance?
I can just take some examples of just being out in the community and people wanting to have access to be able to call and get certain things taken care of. We had a dog that had gotten hit by the side of the road, and the community, they wanted the dog removed. So we called to the Blight department. I called with them, gave them both their number and my number. I did get a call back from Blight, and it had already been taken care of. So that's an example of being given access to government and different things that can be taken care of from down there, giving phone numbers to people and helping and assisting when they cannot get through. Because sometimes the community is not responded to the same way as elected officials. The same way as if you know somebody, you build a relationship downtown, then you have somebody directly that you can make contact with and get some things done. I just like to say I have used some of our elected officials to get through downtown to get some different things done, called them and said, hey, look, this is a problem. This has been a problem for a while. I know personally that we've called. We want to get those things taken care of. That's one of the things, but the transparency. We need to be more transparent. We don't want to hear that they're getting one answer, the community, and then as an elected official, you're getting an entirely different answer. That's not transparency, nor does it build trust out of the community. The transparency, like we say with the election, with the council, the things that they actually vote on every time they're meeting, we want the community to know that these are the things that we have that's taking place. This is the next step if we have to give that to them. If you go into closed door sessions, those things can't necessarily be shared, but you can give as much information as you can to assure the safety of the community. When I say safety, assure that they are safe and believing that they can really trust you to serve them the way that you should be serving them.
Thanks so much. Nadia, we're going to start with you in this next question. How would you work to keep our community safe and clean?
We know that we both have been working, Liddell Lewis. We've been working out there to keep it clean. But there's some accountability, and I have to be honest. I have somebody, I give an example. I know somebody threw some trash down. And I was like, I know you didn't throw that down, not in front of me. At least you didn't. And I held that person accountable. I actually said something to them. In my community, we kind of look out for each other. We're trying to go out, make sure we're cleaning up. We went over to other areas when people complain, if you need help and assistance, because you have people who are not able to get out of their homes and properly pick up the garbage and trash. We got to try to do some trash initiatives with people and enlighten them. You remember we used to have those old commercials where they had the Indians sitting on the side of the road talking about America was beautiful, and now we're starting to litter. And when they saw litter, they had a tear in their eye. Well, maybe we need to go back out and do some of those initiatives. We don't see those kind of things on TV to help decrease the trash that is thrown out. I don't allow it. I don't allow nothing to fall out the car. I say that to my family, to my friends. If you drop it, pick it up. You can't do that. The same way you do in your home, do it outside of your home. It's not anybody else's responsibility. But those are some of the things. And to keep our neighborhood safe, we definitely need to start pushing those speed bumps to be put into our communities where it's 25 miles an hour or less. We have some speeders, people who are running stop signs. If it means us have flashing lights on top of those stop signs to let them know that they are aware, you have to stop. We got to do something. I know me personally seeing cars speeding down the street. I'm praying that I ain't saying something, I did something illegal, but I have flashed my lights. People flash their lights to let them know the police ahead. I flash my lights to make them think the police is ahead. Slow down. You in a residential area. But we have to get that word out and get our people in our community to be responsible and start holding others responsible around us.
Okay, and Liddell, same question. What would you do to ensure that our communities stay safe and clean or become safe and clean?
So just like Sister Muhammad said, you have to remind the constituents that this is not my ward, this is our ward. And I'm not elected to do all the work. I'm elected to lead the charge. And so we can't do our job without you. So yeah, it's not about us cleaning up the community. It's about us together. When I say us, I mean like individual. It's about a collective cleaning effort. And so once you really instill in the residents that they are important, that they all have a role to play in the revitalization of our city. And it's going to happen one person at a time, one household at a time, one block at a time, one neighborhood at a time, which transitions to one ward at a time. And then once we all succeed one ward at a time, we have been taking back our city, for lack of better words. So what are we going to do in terms of you said crime, I want to make sure I get that right.
Keeping the community safe and clean. Yes.
Okay, so one of the things that we've done, Sister Muhammad and I, we participated in the Crime Watch training, and it was a pretty much a very intense 4-session seminar. And at the end, we were awarded some grant monies to come up with a plan to take care of our neighborhoods. So basically letting the citizens know again, right now, we are just citizens. And so if we are affecting change as regular citizens, imagine what we can do if taken to another level. But the point is, if we can do it as citizens, you can do it too. So just like a chessboard, we all must man our position if we're going to win. So just encourage individuals to man their positions. So what we did, going back to that, when we did the crime training, hopefully that will encourage more people to take on crime training, getting involved with what we're doing, setting up a model so people can see what Second Ward or / Cyrus Park, how we're handling crime, because we're buying Ring doorbell.
Thank you, Liddell.
Mm-hmm.
Last question, excuse me, to Liddell, please. How would you approach balancing the city's budget?
Oh, that's it?
That's it?
Oh, oh well. So I served as the secretary of our community HOA. And furthermore, I'm a mom. I'm a cheap mom that does not like paying full price. So with that being said, I will definitely approach it with pretty much being frugal, scrutinizing what we're spending money on, what we don't need to spend money on. Furthermore, what we're spending money on that have not been effective. It's time for us to evaluate where our dollars are going, and to stop funneling money into areas that don't need them, to lack of better words. So just do it with caution, because that's the way I live my personal life. You see me at the checkout line scanning all of my coupons and bottle receipts. So I'm going to take that same save money, stretch your dollars attitude to the city council.
Thank you. Same question to you, Audrey.
Yeah, it's definitely, you got to go in and fully assess where you're spending, check it for the previous budget, check and see what it is that was spent and that was not spent effectively, what was not cost effective. Sometimes you don't know that you could have saved a few dollars, but sometimes you don't know that you just waste the money unless you do a contrast and comparison on the different previous budgets. We know that some of the things that we have been talking about with, and then finding out if there's money available in other accounts. Because sometimes you might be spending, or we're spending money out of one account, but something else can actually take that place. I know one of the big things that we have been talking about, and they're talking about with the city council now, is the trash company. Why can't we get back and buy trucks back and get them back into our own possession? We know that have to be definitely an analysis have to be done on it. There's money that I understand that's available in other spots, but then you also gonna have another cost that's gonna be added onto it, because now we got to get our own landfill, and I'm just giving that as an example. So now you have to see, will it be cost effective, and how long will it take before it's effective? Will it take 1 year, 2 years, 10 years? You got to see long term. When you shopping, if you buy something in bulk, you don't need all of it right now, but over the course of time, you're going to eventually use it, and it'll be effective to get it. But if you go and buy a big bag of something that you don't use normally, and that's on the cheap level, that's on a level that people kind of understand, it might not be cost effective. You might have to throw it out. So we have to do that with the budget. We have to look and see, where are we wasting our money? Do an analysis, and it fully need to be taken care of. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, well, second ward candidates Audrey Young and Liddell Lewis, thank you so much for your time today and taking all of our questions.